On this episode of Internet Business Mastery, we talk about how to choose the best product to sell online. And in the quick tip, we share a brilliant tool that will save you tons of time answering business email.
Welcome to InternetBusinessMastery.com, where you will learn to take control, make more money, and start an internet business today. Here are your hosts, Sterling and Jay.
Hey everyone, I'm Sterling.
And I'm Jay.
And we are on a mission to help you start your own internet business. Go to freevideogift.com to check out a video that teaches you the right way to start your very own internet business. So Jay, it's funny to even have to ask you this since I, of course, know, but what's going on? What's going on in the world of Jay?
Well, you know, we mentioned on the last couple episodes that came out how, our baby was due at the beginning of February, and it feels funny to be on the microphone because it's actually, even though we've been releasing episodes every week over the month, it's been at least a month since you and I have sat down and recorded an episode because, I wanted to leave February wide open because the birth of our baby, and she did arrive on February 1st, actually one day early. I was settling into the fact that we were probably going to be a week or so late, and it's funny, just the night before I started some new projects and things, and then of course in the middle of the night, right before we went to bed, I just mentioned to Melanie, I'm like, I wonder how many people wake up in the middle of the night and have that, oh my gosh, I'm in labor, kind of like in the middle of the night thing that you might see like on a movie or whatever. And that's exactly what happened to us. 2:08 a.m. She woke up, she's like, I think my water just broke. And it's like, only like 18% of women that actually have that experience that you see on the movies of like, oh, my water just broke, kind of like, this baby's coming. And that's what, that's what happened to us.
That's funny.
But, it's been really exciting. I mean, actually today as we record this, we're at the 4-week mark and, just loving parenthood. We would talk about passion and fulfillment and things on the show all the time. And I'd say that having a child has definitely been a fulfilling thing. I'm passionate about, her life and our life with her. And it feels like when I got married to Melanie, I remember what I told her is, I think it's time to get married because at this point I feel like everything that I want to do and you want to do, it'll just be more fun together. And even though it's been a big commitment in the last few weeks, obviously, to have a new child and become a parent, I just feel like, life is just going to be cooler now with this other person, this new personality in our family. And I just, can't say how awesome it's been to not have to worry about going back to work so soon or, getting up first thing in the morning and leaving my wife and her at home. I get to spend, plenty of time with them. And so it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's nice having the office a couple, rooms away is all.
Absolutely. And I bring her to work with me all the time. I get her in the little carrier and get her all swaddled up and soothe her to sleep. And then I'll just sit down and she'll just be sleeping away on my chest while I'm outlining a show or responding to emails or writing, new content or whatever the case may be. So
yeah, well, and when we do our weekly meeting, we both started going for walks. Of course, you're in Portland and I'm in Salt Lake, so we'll just get on the phone and do our meeting get the little iPhones, and we could pretty much walk wherever we want and still perform our meeting. And now, of course, you've got her with you, and she's sound asleep. It's just funny. It doesn't change anything with us other than I'm like, hey, he's got his baby there. His baby's at work with him.
Every once in a while, I might say a little like, oh, how you doing there, cutie, or something. You're like, oh, I'm not talking to you, Sterling.
Which is certainly better than when we're talking and I hear kissy noises as your wife comes in and gives you a kiss real quick.
We're like having a strategy meeting. You're like, what are those kissy noises? Oh, Melanie just walked in. Right. I guess I should say, some people are probably wondering, what's her name? That's the thing everybody always wants to know. We went with Calliope Sophia Van Orden, which is kind of a mouthful, but that puts together two of our favorite names. My wife really liked Calliope, and I like Sophia, and we just decided to stick them together, and we call her Cece or Callie Pants or Cece McGee. It's funny, all the names you start coming up with for your baby. So that's been a lot of fun, but...
And here I thought that Sterlina was still in the running, but no.
Right up to the last second, it was a close second.
Sterlina or Calliope? Oh,
that's a tough one. That's the newest, news and addition to the Internet Business Mastery universe.
And now, the features segment.
Right. So in this episode, we are going to talk about 4 tips for how to choose what to sell online. I know this is a huge question that people have when they first discover this internet business thing. They're going, wow, this sounds awesome. I can easily, quickly start a business. It doesn't have to cost me a lot of money. It's going to give me freedom. It's going to let me choose whatever, topic, something that makes me passionate. One problem, I can't imagine what I could possibly sell online. And, I get it. I can remember being there when I first discovered the internet business idea going, oh yeah, I definitely want to start an internet business. It sounds fantastic. Perfect fit. I just wish I knew exactly what to sell online. Of course, back then it was like the eBay days of, okay, I just got to find some kind of like Elvis bobblehead or some obscure thing, and then I'll sell that on eBay. Well, the good news is you don't need to worry about buying truckloads of Elvis bobbleheads because, what we teach these days is to make information products that are quick and easy and inexpensive to make as long as you can just define the right ideas. So let's talk about these 4 simple steps. I mean, this is exactly the process we walk through in the academy. These 4 simple steps are going to make it so easy. I mean, by the time you get done with these 4 steps, the answer to the what product should I sell online and what product's going to work and make me money is going to be glaringly obvious. And, it just doesn't need to be a long, laborious process. And here's one more thing I'll say about this. I don't see anybody teaching it this way.
No way.
I mean, people talk about, okay, choose your niche, do some keyword research. But when it comes to product creation, I think there's a lot that's missing. And the funny thing is it actually has very little to do with the creation of the product itself. It all has to do with what you do before creating the product, before coming up with that idea. Because if you do everything right leading up to it, like I said, the idea for the product will be glaringly obvious and the product will be super easy. It will create itself. So let's go ahead and talk about this process here. So it all starts, number 1, with defining your audience first. Something we've said many times on this show is that most businesses do this process completely backwards. An entrepreneur or a would-be entrepreneur gets this fantastic idea. I mean, you've told your yoga mat story, 1,000 times. Your friend, you're like, oh, I got the perfect yoga mat idea, and then went and had them bunch made in China, and then and then was stuck trying to find an audience who's actually interested in them. And the people will fall in love with some idea, maybe because it's something they thought, oh, you know what I really need? And then they just assume that's what everyone else wants too. And that's actually the big trap there, is assuming what everyone needs rather than finding out what they actually want. There's a big difference between your assumptions and what they actually is reality for them, and between what you think they need, between needs and wants. So the big thing here is to go and find a hungry audience. Find a market, a group of people who have an urgent pain of some sort. I love the example I use often about like the woman who just finds out that she's got to spend the last 4 months of her pregnancy on bed rest. There's an urgent pain there. Oh my gosh, what do I do now? When I injured my knee four-wheeling a couple years ago and wanted and started realizing, oh, I got to do some rehab to get full flexibility back. What do I do now? That's another example of an urgent pain. Or an irrational passion. Oh my gosh, how do I get one more stroke off of my golf game? And choosing that audience, and an audience that has an urgent pain that you understand really, really well. And if you've defined that audience specifically, even down to the point, I mean, in the academy, in the second module of the academy, we walk through an entire process of how to define what we call the avatar. The avatar is that ideal person, that person that represents that ideal person you want to work with and deliver value to and help, and that represents the market that you're trying to reach. Visualizing that person sitting down in a coffee shop, expressing their questions to you, asking, talking about this urgent pain in their life, and you going, oh, I've got answers for that. Or whether if you don't have the answers yet, you going, oh, I totally understand, and I want to go and help find the answers to this. So defining down to, an exact person, what's their name, what's their age, what are the things they talk about. And here's the good news, is likely the definition of that avatar fits a past version of yourself a lot of times. And that's what it is for Internet Business Mastery. All we have to do when we imagine our audience and giving our audience what they want is think about, well, where were we 7-8 years ago when we were first finding out about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and quitting our jobs and being unemployable and wanting to find a business of our own and then discovering internet business? What were all the questions that we had? the urgent pains that we were feeling. Or it might be somebody that you know personally, or it might be a client that you've had. And so you can actually visualize that person in a very real way because it's an actual person that has existed or does exist right now. And when you do that, that's the first step towards really understanding what the product should be, because it's a lot easier to define the person, find out what they want, and then simply go and create the solution that fits that exact want. And then when you present it to them, they will eat it up. They will eat it up. So define your audience first is the first tip in creating that ideal product to sell online.
Well, and here's kind of a story that is about, a couple of guys that didn't actually define their audience first. So they actually have a weight loss podcast and business, and they told me recently that they weren't doing the sales that they really wanted to be doing. And so we started to look at the type of people they were attracting to their show. Now, it ended up being that they were attracting 18 to 35-year-old males who didn't, really have that much weight to lose. Maybe the last 5 or 10 pounds or so is all. And they were just wanting more health, which actually reminds me of another friend of ours that you can see his abs, let's just say. And tall,
Yeah.
Good looking, very, very healthy, skinny. And he recently told me that he needs to get more fit. And, after I suppressed the desire to choke him out, I realized that, there's different, that would be the guy that you don't want to try and sell an ebook on how to lose 50 pounds or more, right? Like, cause he's like, oh no, I can already see my abs. I just need to be more fit. Whatever that means, again, it still aggravates me. But anyway, so, we found out that those were basically the type of guys that were listening to the show, the guys that wanted to hear kind of the science behind it. And they wanted to tweak, be able to get their blood taken and find that, oh, they're a little bit more healthy. They got their lipids or whatever these things are, better. Whereas the people that they really needed to be attracting are actually, where the weight loss industry targets is mostly women from the ages of 45 and 65 and have more than 50 pounds to lose. And that's really where the money is in that market. And they realized, a couple years into doing this, that the reason their sales were so low is because they had literally the exact opposite market is who they were actually catering to. Now, obviously defining that market first, that would have made this not happen. Right. And so, of course, now they're having to completely recreate their show and their business to match that market. And that, of course, is, again, 2 years after doing the show the other way. And so, please learn from this and, do this definition and defining of your market and your avatar beforehand so this doesn't happen.
Yeah, I guess there's 3 traps that you can fall into there if you don't do that we've and so just to underscore them, number 1 is that you assume what a market needs rather than giving them what they actually want because you haven't really thought about who the market is. Or number 2, you end up you end up creating content that attracts different people than you actually really want to work with and then that's just a drain and a mismatch and no one's going to be happy. Or number 3, you end up trying to be all things to all people and making lots of people happy. And, if you try to cater to the guy that's got the abs and just wants to reduce his body fat percentage by 2%, and at the same time you're talking to the 45-year-old woman that has 30 or 40 or 50 pounds to lose, then neither of them are going to be happy because they have completely different desires and wants and the kind of content and solutions that you give them. So that's a great example.
Well, and actually when we started Internet Business Mastery, we started more to just sit there and talk about marketing. But as we, started designing it as a real business and not just kind of a hobby we were doing because we just loved talking about internet business and marketing, we started realizing that sometimes we were doing shows that were intermediate and advanced. And then once we finally started doing this stuff and really defining the market, once we started really seeing who was listening to the show, we started going, oh, well, let's target more somebody that's absolutely beginning or in the early stages. And then let's speak to that so that they're not getting really annoyed when we're talking about these super advanced things. And most of our market seems to be the beginner, and that was one of the things that we had to do. And of course, as we kept developing the business, that's where we got these, 4 ways of, figuring out what the product you want to sell is and making it super easy.
All right, so that leads us to the obvious second tip, and that is once you've defined that audience and started to attract them, ask them. And this is the number one thing we say when we have maybe a student that's gotten their site up, started creating some content, and now they're saying, "But I'm still not clear as to what I should make for them." We say, "Well, have you asked them yet? Have you surveyed them?" Or even just sent an email out to your list and said, "Hey, hit reply and let me know what's your number one question right now about topic X." And it seems like such an obvious thing, but even sometimes we forget to do that. And believe me, when we've forgotten to ask our audience what they want, there's definitely been times that we've paid for it because we've gone through, the motions of making a solution we think they're going to love. And then we're like, oh, we never surveyed them. No wonder we didn't get as big of a response as we'd hoped for. And so, something as simple as a survey, which, use surveymonkey.com, for instance, or something as simple as an email out to those people or a blog that people can comment on, whatever the case may be, that allows people to give you that feedback and start telling them, this is what I'm most urgently feeling a pain about right now. This is what's keeping me up at night. This is the big question I can't find an answer to. This is the thing that I feel like will change it all if I can just solve this. And when they tell you those things, then you're really in the mind, entering into what we call the conversation that's going on in the mind of your ideal audience member. And when you're doing that, then it becomes very easy to get them to resonate with you and go, oh my gosh, you've got exactly what I want. And you create the ebook or the video course or the coaching program that exactly answers those questions right there. And so that's why in Module 8 of the Academy, we give a whole outline of here's how you survey your audience. Here's examples of surveys that we've had. Here are the kind of questions you want to ask in order to get the right kinds of responses. Here's when to do that and how to do that in order to get the kind of data. And, you'd be surprised, actually, you don't need like 100 or 200 answers to really know. Sometimes as few as 20 or 30 answers to a good survey question can tell you exactly what you need to know about what your audience wants. So don't forget to ask your audience once you've defined them and started attracting that audience.
Once you hear it, it seems so simple. Why don't you ask? But think of how many businesses absolutely don't. They just go, oh, clearly the market needs this. And it reminds me of, I've been to some entrepreneur meetup groups relatively recently. And it was interesting because some of the people were there to get some help and ideas on, again, how to market a product they were ready to bring to the market. And one of the things I always asked is, how do you know the market wants it? I just wanted to see if they went, oh, well, I did a ton of market research. I found ways to, actually ask the market. I am the market. I know lots of people in the market. And almost every single time it was nothing to do with that. In fact, even the ones that were like, oh, I did some market research. And then when I would say, oh, well, what is that? And they said, oh, I just kind of looked around and saw that lots of other people are selling something like this, but I'm going to do it a little bit better. And I just go, oh, man. Right. It's just not something, it's so simple, but yet it doesn't come to most people's mind. Why don't you just ask the audience or the market exactly what they want? And we stumbled onto that on the first version of the Academy. I remember we came up with this huge list of what's going to be in there. And somewhere along the way, we decided to do this survey, and there was a lot of things we were going to put all this time and effort into that ranked incredibly low when, the audience actually, went through the survey and said what they really wanted. So that was awesome because then we could focus all of our time and energy just on the 4 or 5 things that they actually wanted instead of having 2 things they wanted and 3 things they completely didn't care about, and that could have dissuaded them or even overwhelmed them with content when they didn't even want it in the first place.
All right, so that brings us now to the third tip, which is you've defined your audience, you've gotten to know them, you've asked them what they want, and before you even need to go out and create a product, that can seem maybe a little overwhelming at first. You're like, well, I don't know if I'm going to go through all this effort creating a product just to find out that it's not the right one. So here's what we tell people to do, is we tell them, well, don't make a product yourself. Don't sell your own product. Go ahead and just find other people's products to sell. One of the best things you can do early on in your business is get to the first sale as quickly as possible. There's a number of reasons for this. Number one, it boosts your confidence tremendously to to get a sale, to make money online. You go, oh my gosh, I did it once, I can do it again and again and again. Number two, it tells you that you've got an audience that's ready to buy from you. So that's, definitely a good indication that you're on the right track as well. Number three, it tells you you've hit upon something that they really want. And once you've sold an affiliate product to them, you can do that a lot faster if you don't have to go through, a few weeks of making something yourself. So just go out. You found out what it is that they want. Go find somebody else's ebook. And you can go ahead and download it and check it out yourself, make sure it's a good product, but then go ahead and maybe create a video about it or choose a service that you use to solve that problem and do a quick tutorial about it. And then put that out to your audience and see what they say, see what they do. And if they don't really respond to that, okay, you can try something else and say, okay, maybe I'm not quite dead on here. Let's try something else. And then once you've hit on something that they do buy, when you combine that along with the survey data, now you've got some very valuable data points to go off of. They've told you what they want, plus now they've voted with their wallets as well, which is the best indicator of what's going to work. And now you can proceed down that path even further by creating your own product that fits the same bill as what they've been buying from you.
Well, and obviously if you have an affiliate product doing incredibly well, that's a nice basis for your first product. You now know what works. And you can go, oh, well, I'll do a little reworking of the product that's already working as an affiliate product.
One of my favorite parts of the Academy is also the part that our students get the most excited about, and that is early on, it's the module that tells you how to get a Twitter following really, really fast. And the reason that's so awesome is it's very encouraging to see that following growing quickly. Once you've defined that audience, it's one of the fastest ways we know to get that audience. It's an audience that you can immediately start asking, what do you want? And so, you've got those people to give you the feedback. And then number three, it's a very quick list to build up that you can start selling those affiliate products to. Even before you've got your site up, even before you've got your email list set up, you can start talking to that audience and putting links out to them. And so that module in the time span of just one module, you build up a following quickly, you find out what they want, and you put an affiliate program out to them. And we tell you exactly how to find the affiliate program and how to promote that in just the right way that people are going to be pre-sold and ready to go, and in such a way that people are pre-sold and ready to buy. So, this doesn't have to take a whole lot of time, and it doesn't have to be something that we're talking, weeks and months of progress. We found a way to make this happen incredibly quickly. We're talking, you can go from defining your audience to asking your audience to selling them an affiliate product in a matter of a month or two. We've had people making this work for them. All right, and that brings us to the fourth tip, and that is involve your audience in the process. So once you do get to the point of creating a product of your own, this goes along with surveying, but also, why not ask them, hey, which of these titles do you like best? And have them go, just make a list of maybe 5 ideas you've got and have them tell you, okay, based on the title alone, which one of these would you be the most likely to buy? And they'll tell you, and then okay, this would be the good title to put on my ebook. And, once you've assimilated all that survey data, you can go back to them and say, okay, hey, I just got done going through the survey. Thank you very much for all the responses I got. From all the feedback that I have, it looks like what you guys would really find helpful is like a weekly coaching series where we go through this process together. We share each other's, success experiences. I'll give you a little bit of additional training on the, and then, at the end of that, whether this is a blog post or an email, you just say, does that sound about right? And then have them confirm it for you. And this does 2 things. First of all, it gives you further confirmation. Second of all, it starts teasing your audience about, hey, something's coming down the line. So it starts getting them thinking about, yeah, that sounds pretty good. Plus it builds up the relationship because you're talking to them and listening to them throughout the process. So don't forget to involve your audience in the process of creating the product itself. Then they'll feel more invested, and people support the things that they're invested in. So that's a huge, huge tip that, we don't hear other people teaching it this way, but definitely don't forget to do that.
Now, we do that all the time now with our products to a win-win for us and to the people that invest in our systems. And it doesn't even make sense not to involve your audience or, again, the potential buyers in the product making process. And I don't see how people get along without doing this. It makes me wonder, too, with other courses and stuff I've went through, if this is one of those secrets they just don't want to tell. So, they get an advantage over their, I don't know, because I haven't heard people say this.
All right, so there you go. 4 tips to help you find the ideal product to sell online. And this is the reason we wanted to do this episode, is because we know there's so many people out there going, and I get emails like this all the time. I'm so excited about what you guys talk about on the show. I know I want an internet business. I know I'm going to start one someday. All I need first is to know exactly what it is I'm going to sell online. And I think that's unfortunate because people, it's like they're waiting for all the green lights before they get started. And as you can see, if you just jump in and start doing the process actually tells you what the product is. And you just start at the very beginning by looking at, okay, what do you want? What are your passions? Who do you want to work with? Okay, now let's define that audience. Okay, now let's talk to that audience and let's start finding out what they want. Okay, now let's test that out by giving them an affiliate product and see what they buy. And if you need to, you test and go through a couple iterations of that. And you go, okay, cool. Now they're buying this. Now I know. Now I'm going to start making a product. But I don't have to invest 2 months in making a product just to find out, oh, I missed the mark, because at every step of making the product, you can keep checking back in with your audience and going, is this what you want? Is this what you want? And then by the time you do put that thing out to sell, well, it's a no-brainer. Of course you've picked the right product to sell. Of course you're going to make money. Of course they're going to be thrilled and ready to buy from them. Of course you're not going to have to do a hard sell because they already expected it and you've hit them so dead on and what it is that they want most that the sales process is easy. I mean, sales is easy sales ideally is just helping people invest in a future positive outcome for themselves. And if you've created something that's already based on what they've told you that they want, well, then you've done that the moment you've created it and made it available. Case closed. Everything's done and ready to go. So we just want to encourage you to not worry about, oh, what am I going to sell online? But know that if you start this process, it very much is going to walk you through it and make it easy the way that we outline the process for you. So, number 1, define your audience first. Number 2, ask your audience. Number 3, sell affiliate products to them. And then number 4, involve them in the process of creating your own product. All right, I'm super excited about the breakthroughs that we have today. Well, I'm always excited to read.
There's lots of them pouring in. It's
yeah,
great.
There's been a lot coming in lately. Just thrilling to hear people's successes as they're going through the system and making it work. This one is an Academy member. He posted this to the forum, and I noticed this a few days ago. It comes from Dave Freitas, and here's what he has to say. He says, Jay and Sterling, I've been listening to you guys from the beginning and have to thank you for all the great information, insight, encouragement, and introducing me to the 4-Hour Workweek. You guys in this book have changed my life. I took a problem that I had with my car, which was an embarrassment, and turned it into an automatic cash machine. I was able to build a site, create a physical product that was outsourced to a contract manufacturer, and sold over $7,000 of product before it was even ready to ship.
Nice.
This business has since spawned into several different sites and products, which translates into a nice income that averages out to paying several $100s per hour that I put into it. I figured this year it will pay me nearly $1,000 an hour. Well, I like that.
Yeah.
$1,000 an hour. That's right. Keep up the great work, guys. Dave Freitas and his URL, and hopefully I'm saying your last name right there, Dave. His URL is Mazda3carpet.com. That's Mazda, the number 3carpet.com. And incidentally, we're going to have him on the next episode to talk more about his success story and how he put it together. I know probably a lot of people are going, whoa, what did he do? How's he making $1,000 an hour? Well, Dave's going to come on the show next episode and tell us all about that, so you can look forward to that.
And he came up with a good internet business name, Automatic Cash Machine. That's got to be a product right now.
Right there. Automatic Cash
That's
Machine.
awesome.
Absolutely. And then there's one more breakthrough that I'm thrilled to bring to you. This one came from an email. This is one of our coaching students that is going through the coaching towards the end of last year. And I can remember when she, came to us in the coaching program and she had some ideas of things she had been working on, but she just needed a little help with refining her brand. And if you've listened to some of our webinars in the past few months, you might have heard her story. It's Jill, who does the home birthing stuff, and natural birthing. And the big advice, there was one key tweak that we gave her in our coaching, our one-on-one coaching that we did with her that changed everything when it came to the visibility of her site. I mean, it's crazy when you think the difference that one little tweak can make. But it really can be that significant. And the tweak we told her was, as we talked through it, we told her, well, you really need to focus on your niche being natural birth, because that's something people are more, going back to what we talked about earlier on this show, what people want and are actually looking for. Home birthing might be a perfect solution for them, but natural birth is the thing that's in most people's minds that most people are thinking about. And so, we told her that one tweak, and just as an evidence of the kind of things that happen when you get that visibility just right, and when you actually just step out and start taking action. Her site hasn't been up that long. We're talking, she just got the site launched a couple months ago. So here's the message that she sent me. She said, check it out. MTV just called me today. They found my website, and they're doing a documentary on couples having babies. Very nice. Thanks for helping me get such an easy to find domain. It's all thanks to your great URL advice. I wanted to go with hypnobirthing, but I'm glad I stuck with your advice to go with a little bit of a broader name in this case.
Awesome.
So big congratulations to Jill. You can find her online at naturalbirthstgeorge.com. You can just Google that as well if you want, and it'll be exciting to see what kind of comes from this connection with MTV calling her to get some info. And here's the thing. I mean, certainly she's not the only person talking about natural birth out there, right? She could have very easily been like, what do I have to bring to the conversation? Why is anyone going to want to talk to me over anybody else? But the simple truth is, because she put herself out there online, just started taking the steps as we told her, and did it in such a way to maximize her exposure, when MTV went searching online, bam, she's the one that showed up. And MTV's not going, is she really an expert? How long has she been doing this? Has she read 5 more books than the other natural birth? All they know is she's got this site with some great content on it. She came up at the top of Google. In their minds, they're going, perfect. And the woman on the phone actually had told her, you're a gold mine. I'm so glad I found you. And that's just a great example of the kind of opportunities that start coming out of the woodwork when you just get out there and take action. And again, her site has only been up about 2 months. So that's just fabulous. And big congratulations to you on that, Jill.
Yeah, we need to do the shows a little bit more often than last month, because I need my hit of testimonials.
That's right. That excitement that we get from, we get as much excitement, I think, as people who listen to the show, for sure. It's just so thrilling to hear these kinds of things happening. So, keep those breakthroughs coming.
And remember, there's a live question and answer call each month for coaching members, where you can ask us anything about starting and running your internet business. Not a coaching member yet? No problem. Just visit internetbusinessmastery.com/coaching to get the latest information about our coaching program.
It's time for the Internet Business Quick Tip.
So, Sterling, I know you use macros from time to time, right?
Yep.
Saves you a lot of time. Just record a task once, and then you can tell your computer, okay, go and repeat this 100 times now, and automate things. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Well, I was trying to find something along those lines. I didn't need a quite as full-on of a thing as a macro program, because I didn't want to have to start something running. I wanted something where I could very easily grab templates for emails. There's certain email responses or emails that I find myself sending on a regular basis, whether it's one of our students writing in about something. Now, of course, we have our support that handles a lot of our support tickets, but there are some things that, directly we're talking to our students and things about. But, you can find yourself saying the same handful of things over and over again. So I was like, there's got to be something out there that I could be chugging along in an email, and then I could go, okay, I just want to insert my standard paragraph here about X. And, I just want to be able to type, some little combo of letters and hit spacebar and have a program just go, oh, we know what that means, and fill in the paragraph. Kind of like when you're going along on your iPhone entering a text and it starts guessing the word that you're wanting to write, and so you can just hit space and it completes the rest of the word for you. It's like, okay, how can I do that in my email? And I found something, and it's actually free, a free program that does that. And it's called Phrase Express. And so, for instance, somebody might be, emailing me going, oh, I'm having such a hard time finding, the time to work on my business. And, there's the standard set of the 2 or 3 things that I might say to that person to help, them along and remotivate them and say, hey, I understand, here's the couple things to do. And so now I could do something like be typing along like, hey, John, thanks for your email. I certainly understand where you're coming from. And then I could type in $, time, and then space, and it would just put in my paragraph about time. And then I could continue and close the email at that point. And so I've started doing that. It's awesome because it's saving me. I was actually bringing up a notepad file and copying and pasting paragraphs in, and this just makes it that much easier. So it's Phrase Express, which you can find at phraseexpress.com.
If you'd like to get dozens of resources such as this one, you can find them in the Internet Business Mastery Academy, along with video tutorials showing you exactly how we use many of them. So to get your risk-free trial membership to the Academy, go to InternetBusinessMasteryAcademy.com.
You've been listening to the iconoclasts of the 9 to 5 Sterling and Jay. Sterling and Jay invite you to discover one of their most popular video programs ever, the Online Business Freedom Formula. Visit freevideogift.com right now to get instant access to this life-changing video series, pulled directly from the acclaimed Internet Business Mastery Academy membership community. Go now to freevideogift.com. Take control. Make more money. Start an internet business today.